talk about the motivating factors that lure women into sex work. You know, the empowerment, the attention, the millions of dollars that they're promised if they just make an OnlyFans account. But I do think that we are missing part of the story, especially for a certain generation of women. A certain generation of women that might have lost their allure a long time ago and is trying to get back some of that feeling. And I also think we're missing a conversation on who these types of sex workers are actually exploiting. We talk about how they're exploited, but we need to talk about the other side of that issue. And with all of the news about Denise Richards, her daughter Sami, Sheen, their new reality show, I think we have to discuss this right now because the Richards-Sheen family might just be the most dysfunctional, out-of-touch OnlyFans family in the world. And yes, I said OnlyFans family. Now, if you are my age and you didn't grow up around Denise Richards, if you don't know who she is, Denise Richards is an actress, and she has a new reality TV show that has been getting a ton of press called Denise Richards and Her Wild Things, and it's on Bravo TV. It has been all over my TikTok For You page for the last few weeks. Denise Richards was hugely famous in the 90s. She used to be married to actor Charlie Sheen, and they have 3 daughters together. Denise was not just some regular actress. She was a bombshell sex icon of the 90s. If you've watched all of the James Bond films, you've probably seen her. She was a Bond girl. She's very well known for the film Starship Troopers. She was in Love Actually, and she was in the film Wild Things, which is what her new TV show is named after. And this new Bravo TV show is not her first stint on reality TV. She also did Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She also did Denise Richards' It's Complicated, which was just an entire 2-season reality TV show about her going through her divorce with Charlie Sheen. Like, this woman, the picture that I'm trying to paint, my friends, is that this woman was incredibly famous in the 90s, was a bombshell sex icon, but is desperately trying to hold on to her fame. And that is going to be something that is very important to remember. And the most recent iteration of this is the fact that she has been exploring a new online venture, which would be OnlyFans. But the way this all came about, the way that she ended up on OnlyFans is anything but normal. And the fact that I'm saying that is just crazy because in my mind, anybody being on OnlyFans is abnormal, but this one in particular is pretty crazy. I mean, this perfectly embodies the lies, the faux empowerment that OnlyFans and modern sex work promises, and the exploitation of the men who consume this content. Now, before we dive into this story, make sure that you like this video if you enjoyed it and that you're subscribed to our new channel. And of course, if you want every single episode of The Red Cooper Show, ring that notification bell. And of course, I need to remind you that if you are somebody who does not want to hear my incredible ad transitions, if you want a subscriber-only newsletter and a weekly advice video that is curated by your questions, please check out my subscriber-only platform, Cooper Confidential. The link is right here and also in the description below. Now, I promised you an abnormal story, and an abnormal story you guys are going to get. So all of this started with Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen's eldest daughter, Sami, who decided to make an OnlyFans in 2022 very shortly, like just days after her 18th birthday. And in her words, this was because she wanted to move out and get her own apartment, and working at her local candy shop just wasn't paying the bills. Take a listen.
I think what made me start OnlyFans in the beginning is because I really wanted to get an apartment, and I knew that working at the candy shop I was working at wasn't gonna cut it. So I went to the next best thing and made an OnlyFans. It opened so many doors for me, and I've met really cool people doing it, and it's been really nice and rewarding being my own boss and making my own hours and being able to do the things I've always wanted to do.
I mean, imagine being her parents and listening to your daughter say, oh yeah, you know, selling my bare ass online. I'm so excited that I get to do the things that I've always wanted to do. In what world has a little girl dreamed about doing that? Well, I mean, her mother is Denise Richards, but all of that aside, this should be appalling. And I listened to this clip. I saw it, last month, and I was like, there wasn't another option? Like, she's kind of joking and she's laughing at herself saying, I went to the next best thing. But seriously, there wasn't something else, like a normal job, doing anything? You are a Nepo baby. You could go be an actress. You could go direct films that your parents fund. There are so many other things you could do to start a business where you make your own hours that is not selling your body online on OnlyFans. Like, in what world is it candy store or OnlyFans? That is insane. But guys, the craziest part of this story isn't that she joined OnlyFans because the candy store wasn't cutting it. It is that 10 days later, that same year, in June of 2022, her mother, Denise, also joined OnlyFans. Now, allegedly, she did this because Sami was facing so much backlash for joining OnlyFans, which I really don't think was actually happening because people were paying her a lot of money. But Denise said that this was happening and that she wanted to join to show solidarity and to support her daughter. Now, take a listen to the rest of this clip that we were just watching.
I think it's great. I always just tell her I wish she waited a little bit because she started it right after I did, but yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
It bothered me that she was getting backlash for owning her own sexuality and her being a woman and doing what she wanted to do, and that's why I joined it. I didn't understand it before, and then I quickly learned. And I kind of made a sort of a joke about it. I posted something when she did join, people were making comments, because it's hard because she's so young, and she was 19 or 18 when she joined.
I just turned 18 when I started.
She was 18 years old.
It was crazy.
For me, I thought, oh my gosh, for her at 18 to have people have negative comments about her.
Why is the conversation about the fact that at 18 years old she's having to face negative comments instead of why at 18 years old is she selling her body online? Like, the priorities are just completely out of whack. This is like Hollywood at its finest of these people live in a completely different world than most normal Americans. Oh, my daughter's posting pictures of her bare ass and everybody's mad at her. Maybe you should take her out of that environment rather than putting yourself in it. I mean, you saw in the interview, she's like, damn, mom, wish you had waited. It was like 10 days after me. The entire thing is so weird. But even though Sami was obviously uncomfortable, because what daughter wouldn't be uncomfortable, Denise was undeterred. And in another interview, she said, quote, "I'm a grown-ass woman, and I've had a lot of stuff over the years said about me, the good, the bad, publicly. Even now as a grown-up, it hurts still." But eventually, her tune changed with the actress joining OnlyFans as well, and she said, "When The Wild Things came out, it was a very positive movie for my career, but I'm sure a lot of people had a personal opinion too. And after that, you're perceived as a sex symbol, and the things you do are perceived as sexual." She said, comparing her 1998 film's popularity to Sami's increased fame. "So that is why I wanted to join OnlyFans, because I was like, who cares?" So we're kind of hearing two different stories here. Like, number one, she's already a sex symbol, so who cares? She's just gonna do it anyway. But also, she didn't think it was fair that her daughter was getting all of this backlash and attention, so she had to join to make sure she was supporting her newly 18-year-old daughter. I'm sorry, this sounds like jealousy more than anything else. I think that is why Sami was so uncomfortable, which we saw in that clip. Like, oh, mom, it's kind of weird. Again, what daughter wouldn't feel that way? This feels like a mother, a very weird Hollywood mom that is just trying to tap into the fame that she used to have at the beginning of her career that her daughter now has. This is a woman that was once known for her sex appeal and her beauty. She is now being overshadowed by her 18-year-old daughter, and she just had to step in. This is so creepy on a million different levels. And I know what you guys are probably thinking, like, Brett, where did you even find all this information? Yes, I can even research this story on Ground News. And based on what Ground News showed me, this story deserves a lot more coverage than it has received. Now, if you don't know, Ground News is a company that cuts through the noise with an unbiased perspective and shows both sides of every story, prioritizing honesty over everything, which is so refreshing in this media landscape. Their unique technology even allows users to compare how different sides of the corporate media are reporting on a story, making sure that you see all sides and truly stay informed. And from my perspective as a creator, they make sure that I stay on top of the stories that I'm covering so that I can bring you guys the latest and most honest updates. Like today, the fact that no one is talking about this OnlyFans story. There were only 4 articles on this story, and obviously there needs to be a lot more. And speaking of that, Ground News also has their innovative blind spot feed, which brings you the stories that have gotten little to no coverage, making sure that you always stay informed instead of letting big tech or their algorithms decide what you see, which happens more than you would expect. So if you are ready to truly break free from media bias and stay informed with transparent news consumption, now is the time to join Ground News. And when you go to groundnews.com/Brett, or you can scan the QR code on the screen, you can get the same premium plan that I use, but for nearly half the price. That is groundnews.com/Brett if you want to get unbiased news and hold the media accountable for only $5 a month. We will be reading the same content. You will be prepared for every episode of The Brett Cooper Show. Now, other than the fact that her name name is kind of perfect for a porn star, Sami Sheen, there is no reason that this 20-year-old should be on the site. I mean, she claims that it gives her this incredible freedom. I think that she's made $3 million at this point. It's empowerment. But as I have talked about at length in my career online, that empowerment is a lie. It could not be farther from the truth. OnlyFans, still to this day, is presented as this feminist form of sex work. It is safe sex work, but it is still exploitation. You are still selling your body online. The platform does not actually protect its creators from trafficking and exploitation. We have talked about that at length. And they still own part of your content. Even if you walk away from this industry, even if you delete everything, try to end your account, they still own these incredibly intimate things, this intimate content that you have created and put on their site. But they dupe everyone. I mean, they even duped her father, Charlie Sheen. Now, at first, Charlie Sheen was against this very insane move, as any good father would be, and he blamed it on the fact that she was living with her mother. In an interview, he said, "I do not condone this." This was back in 2022. "But since I am unable to prevent it, I urged her to keep it classy, creative, and not sacrifice her integrity. She is 18 years old now and living with her mother. This did not occur under my roof." So he's saying, this did not come from me. I do not condone this. I'm not pushing it. This is because I am not involved in her life, which I mean could be fodder for an entire episode about the importance of fathers. But Denise immediately clapped back and she said, "Sami is 18 and this decision was not based on whose house she lives in. All I can do as a parent is guide her and trust her judgment, but she makes her own choices." Okay, I'm sorry. Clearly, neither of you parents are guiding her, as she thought her only options were working at the local candy shop or selling her ass online. That is not very good parenting. Now, the other thing that my team pointed out as we've been doing this episode is that in listening to her talk, I don't know if there's a lot going on upstairs. So maybe we should be fair. Maybe those were her two only options, but I highly, highly believe that that is not the case. And what is so crazy to me, even though literally every part of the story is crazy, is that Charlie and Denise, they're still trying to play the part of responsible parents. For example, in that same sit-down interview that we have been watching clips from where they were talking about OnlyFans, they talked about something that Denise will not let her daughters do. And that involves her movie, The Wild Things, that this new reality TV show is based off of. It is an incredibly sexual movie. It has a super famous sex scene that involves Denise Richards, and that is a movie and a scene that they will not let their daughters watch because it is just too inappropriate. Take a listen to this clip.
I've always been told to never watch Wild Things. I'm not allowed to watch it.
No.
You know, you've always told me not
I know.
to.
No. Yeah, the answer is no, not to ever see that again.
Even though
Or
it's
ever.
the most it's the name of our freaking reality shows.
Yeah, you can't watch it.
It's okay.
If there's maybe a PG version, then she can.
I mean, she's literally sitting there like rolling her eyes like, yeah, as if I would let my children watch something that is so inappropriate. Of course not. Literally, she's an actress. She is playing the role of a responsible, concerned parent. But meanwhile, everything that she is doing as a mother is just completely hypocritical. She's saying, "Sure, Sami, you can go sell your body online. I could sell my body online as an OnlyFans creator doing sex scenes in the 90s. I can be fully nude on screen, but no, I only want you to watch the PG version because it's just so inappropriate." I'm sorry. You are not convincing anyone that you are some good, balanced, moral parent. I mean, you would be better just sitting down and being silent like my guns thanks to Silencer Shop. Now, I'm sure that you all know that I am a big advocate for our Second Amendment rights. I love my guns. I believe in being prepared and being responsible when it comes to owning firearms. But let's be honest, shooting can be loud and sometimes uncomfortable, and that is why I want to tell you about my friends over at Silencer Shop. Yes, before you ask, silencers are totally legal, and Silencer Shop makes getting one easier than ever. They offer the largest selection of top brand suppressors that make your shooting experience quieter, safer, and way more fun. And whether you're hitting the range or out hunting, a suppressor can make a world of difference in your shooting experience. And don't worry about the paperwork. Silencer Shop has got you covered. They simplify the entire process, making it hassle-free so that you can get your suppressor from the comfort of your own home. Approvals are coming back faster than ever right now, so there is no better time to get started. But here's the best part. Silencer Shop is not just about selling suppressors. They are actually out there fighting the good fight for our gun rights. And in these unpredictable times, I believe that it is crucial to support the companies that are standing up for our rights, specifically our Second Amendment right. And that is exactly what Silencer Shop does. They are actively lobbying, battling in courtrooms, and pushing back against anti-gun legislation nationwide. And so if you not only want to enhance your shooting experience, but also support a company that is fighting for you and your rights, head on over to Silencer Shop to get started today. And trust me, they give you the easiest and best way to get your suppressor. Upgrade your guns today with Silencer Shop. But unfortunately, guys, unlike my guns, Denise Richards is not silent in her hypocrisy, and neither is Charlie Sheen, because this man, who was once not condoning his daughter's actions, this is so inappropriate, this did not happen under my roof, he changed his tune after learning how much money his daughter was raking in by showing her ass online, which just, again, is so ridiculous to me because it was inappropriate apparently for her to put that online for free. You were so concerned, but the moment that she told you she had raked in $3 million, suddenly it was okay. I mean, like, what good father says that? Like, oh good, men around the world are leering at my daughter and jerking off to her and she's making so much money, now I condone this decision, now this is a great idea. I mean, it's just truly insane. Now I condone this decision, now it's empowerment. And speaking of empowerment, Denise similarly parroted the same talking points that they all do. It's authenticity and it's empowerment. In another interview about this insane situation, she said, once I learned that this platform is actually really empowering for the creators to be their true, authentic self, I decided to join it too. That's not what the platform is about. They can lie to you all the time. It is a porn app. It is for sex work. What are you talking? I'm going to be authentic with putting my ass online. Give me a freaking break. So again, the point that I'm making by giving you all of this backstory and showing you all of these videos is that I don't think this was really about protecting her daughter from backlash. It was about bolstering her own image. She saw that Sami was making a ton of money, that she was getting a ton of followers, that she was getting a ton of attention, and she wanted that too, which I think is the case for a lot of these older actresses who later turn to sex work. And yes, this is a well-established trend with actresses who we might call washed up. These are people who once held our attention, who we once admired and craved, maybe even sexualized, and they have now been pushed to the sidelines. And Denise is only one of them. Other examples are Jamie Lynn Sigler from The Sopranos, Jamie Foxworth, who was a child actress in the 90s, actor and drummer Jack Nance. This is a male example. You know, he was facing a failing career. He was an alcoholic and he turned to porn for a quick buck, which changed his career forever. Now, the most recent example of this is Boy Meets World actress Maitland Ward. Maitland actually just made the news last week saying that she is now treated so much better as a porn actress than she ever was as a TV actress, as just a normal girl in Hollywood. This headline reads, Boy Meets World alum Maitland Ward feels like people treat me with more respect thanks to her pornography career. This is just so absurd. Like suddenly, after years of no work, your career was dried up, you've got no attention, people watch shows about her, they're talking about her, they want her to write a book. Like, I don't know personally if I would call that respect. I think that that is you doing something shocking and people are looking, which, again, if we go back to the point, is probably what she wanted. That is what they all wanted. And the way that they rationalize this career move, this decision, is through the lie of empowerment and authenticity, which is exactly what Denise Richards is peddling. This is bodily autonomy. It's taking control of my career. It's being my own boss. I'm actually just like an OnlyFans entrepreneur. Everything that Sami said in that first clip. But how long does that allure actually last? Like, how long does the high of attention mask the fact that you are selling your body, that you are selling the most intimate and private parts of yourself, and in some cases, physical sex, to people that you do not know, that you don't care about, that don't care about you? Like, how long does it take until all of that wears off and you become disgusted by the people who are literally buying you? Like, genuinely. How long does it take until you think, maybe all of this should have been saved for somebody who loves me and is willing to commit to me, who wants more than just a quick orgasm? Because that's all they want. I mean, in thinking about all of this, my mind obviously went to Lily Phillips. She is the young woman from England who went viral a couple of months ago for sleeping with 100 men in 24 hours. There was a whole documentary that was made about that entire extravaganza, and just like physically seeing the line of men outside of that apartment door who were all lining up together, waiting to get laid by the same woman, it was disgusting. And even more gross and disappointing than that was the lack of healthy protection and support around her. Nobody was checking for STDs. I mean, her damn mother is her manager, setting all of this up. And deep down, Lily Phillips, and I think a lot of these women know that that's not right.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic, like by the, I think like the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're gonna do this, and like it just, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal sex at all. I think that was kind of the hard part, is like conversing with them, and like when they'd kind of be like, oh, like we've only had 2 minutes or 3 minutes and you said 5 on the message.
Did someone say that to you?
Yeah. And obviously it just makes me feel so bad.
It makes you feel bad because you're not hurting them, but you know that you're being used. They saw an ad online and they showed up to sleep with you for 5 minutes to be part of this game. That disassociating, that numbed feeling is because you are being used as a sex toy. You are putting your body out there to be exploited. And obviously, in watching that documentary, you see exactly when the allure wears off for her. Because at the end of the 100 men, she is not the same girl she was when she started. But I do wonder if these women, like Lily Phillips, like Denise, like all of these people, if they know why they even feel that glimmer of power from the get-go, like before it all falls apart. And sure, like the money and the attention and the clicks helps, but I believe that they feel that power because they know that they have something over men, that they are dominating men. Whether this is something that is intentional or is just in their subconscious, these women must know that their empowerment comes at the expense of the men who view their content. And I hope the men who watch porn understand that as well. You are being used. OnlyFans, porn, sex work, it is people taking advantage of a vice for their own gain. And usually in our modern society with who is consuming porn, it is usually women taking advantage of men. And yes, we can point fingers all day long. We will just end up with like the Spider-Man meme of everybody pointing at each other saying, you know, men wouldn't watch porn if women wouldn't make it. Like Lily Phillips is in the wrong because she had all of these men come to the apartment and sleep with her. You know, women wouldn't have to do this work if men would just not watch porn. I mean, it just goes in circles. None of it is productive in the slightest. We will never get anywhere because, I mean, both of those things are sort of true. I don't know which one is more true, but everybody is complicit. At the end of the day, it is up to each individual to take responsibility and have some damn self-awareness when it comes to their actions. And there obviously have been conversations about banning porn. I mean, just last week there was a story that was trending about how Canada could win the tariff war against Donald Trump if they would just ban Pornhub, which is a Canadian company. This is a headline from the New York Post. Canada has nuclear weapon and trade war, ban Pornhub in the US, which, by the way, that really isn't a real thing. Obviously, they could do that, but that was just a rumor started by one person online, and then they created a petition asking Canada to do that to get back at Donald Trump. I wouldn't hate it if it was real, obviously, but just letting you know that that wasn't actually like a substantial thing. But I mean, already, Pornhub doesn't exist in many states because they refuse to implement age verification laws. But who knows if that would ever happen on a broader scale, on a federal level. Like, that might not even rectify the situation. And it still doesn't actually address all of us and all of our vices. And so, in a world where all of your vices are just readily available in front of you, whether that is alcohol, whether that is drugs, or gambling, or porn, you cannot sit around and go, well, I can just do it because it's in front of me. I'll just wait until daddy government comes and takes it away from me. No, you cannot wait for that in order to get better or stop. It is up to you. It's up to you to recognize the cycle of exploitation that you are in and remove yourself. It is up to these women to know that they are getting momentary power through the exploitation of their bodies and the physical and mental degradation of men. It is also up to men to know that by consuming this content, you are numbing yourself to pleasure. You are frying your dopamine receptors. This is well studied. You are potentially harming a future romantic relationship that could change your life. And you are also financially contributing to an industry that exploits and even traffics women and children. That is the reality of the porn industry. And so when you see people like Sami, Sheen, and like Denise Richards, these glitzy women who are saying, oh, it's all about authenticity and empowerment, that is a lie. That is a lie that they have been told and that they tell themselves to make them feel better about their actions. Deep down, Sami Sheen knows that there was an option in between the candy shop and OnlyFans. Deep down, Denise Richards knows that she really just wanted attention. Deep down, as a father, Charlie Sheen probably knows that what his daughter is doing is disgraceful and wrong. I mean, there is an incredible amount of self-awareness and restraint that is desperately needed in our society. And parents have a responsibility to pass that message on to their children. And obviously, people like Charlie and Denise have not been doing that. And so now, it is up to us to change that, to change course. It is up to us to have the uncomfortable conversations with our peers. It is up to us to engage in even more uncomfortable self-reflection. Because at the end of the day, exploitation is exploitation. A vice is still a vice, no matter how much you try to lie to yourself. Take it from me. Raising sustainable, healthy meat is hard. You have to keep them alive for over a year, bring them food on heavy, expensive machinery, go out in the dead of winter and crack through frozen troughs and try not to get headbutted and killed in the process. And that's before you get to butchering. But GoodRanchers.com makes it easy. American meat raised on local family farms delivered straight to your door, no tractor required. What could be easier?